Hello everyone, this is Dr. Shawn Pourgol. I'm an osteopath, and today I want to speak with you how you can, as a manual osteopath, set up an osteopathic motor vehicle accident rehabilitation clinic in Canada. Before I get into that, I'm in a national park in Naples, Florida, and just a park ranger was passing by and he told me, be careful, there are some coyotes he saw over there. So coyotes, I have no problem, but if a Florida panther or an alligator drop by, then I have a problem. So that would be very funny actually, if this will be my last video and you see in the video some animals attacked me. The things I do for osteopathy, you see. Anyway, today I want to speak with you how you can set up a MVA rehab clinic. Before I founded National Academy of Osteopathy in June 6, 2010, the idea of manual osteopaths having million-dollar clinics were non-existent in Canada. They didn't exist. I changed that. A million-dollar clinic is a clinic that at least makes $500,000 a year, $500,000 a year, because the worth of the clinic is measured on what you make in 1 year multiplied by 2. So if a clinic makes $500,000 multiplied by 2, it's $1 million. So that clinic is worth $1 million. Before I came along into the osteopathic profession, manual osteopaths, they had good income, average $90,000 per year, but I wanted to change that. Of course, that is it's a very good income, more than many other health professionals, such as physiotherapists who make $76,000 in Canada, occupational therapists, massage therapists, and so on. But still, I wanted my students to make more. So I created a number of different types of clinics that my students can get into that has the potential to become a million-dollar clinic. Of course, it is hard to do so because you have to go against so many people in manual osteopathy profession, in other professions, to bypass the competition to make over $500,000. It is not easy, but it is doable. I have a number of students who are doing it already in Canada and elsewhere. Motor vehicle accident provides you with a chance to also have a million-dollar clinic, but this is not easy. MVA clinics, you are entering into the big leagues. This is the field. The MVA rehab field is filled with sharks. All the competitions, they are so good at competition, they are so good at marketing, they've been doing it for years, so it is not easy to make a to make a foothold in that business. I do not recommend to my students to get into that field, but sometimes you can, depending on your situation. For example, if you have a relative, friend, or somebody who is a lawyer specialized in personal injury cases, they can send you tons of patients. If you know personally a family physician that sees a lot of MVA cases, you can get a lot of referrals that way. If you have somebody who have a collision center, auto collision center, that they deal with a lot of fixing the cars after accident. If you have friends who are tow truck drivers and they're nice enough to refer to you these patients that they see that they can pass your business card. So there are options, and for a small number of my alumni, this can be a type of practice that they can specialize and make a lot of money. In Canada, each province has its own laws and regulations in regards to auto insurance cases. The same in states, in US. Some countries is national, but in Canada and US is state by state and provincial by provincial. So you have to ensure you learn all the laws applicable to your jurisdiction. In Ontario, for example, before, when I used to practice, there was no hourly fees, and now there is an hourly fee that is set up. Excuse me, I can't believe in such a quick way a spider put a web on my microphone. Can you believe that? I love nature. It is so beautiful, filled with nature. I can sit here for hours and look at these trees. Actually, the nature is a source of my creativity. But I apologize for the interruption in my speech. It was just something so funny. I saw a web dangling over my microphone. So before they didn't have hourly fees. Now there is an hourly fee in Ontario for chiropractors. I think it's about $95 or something like that. Physiotherapists, $85. For manual osteopaths, it is something like $59 or $60, something like that. I'm not up to date with the exact number. It increases every year by a little bit. But you can check the Financial Service Commission of Ontario, short we call it FISCO. You can check their website for the exact rate that manual osteopaths can charge. So every province is different. Another difference as compared with other types of insurance, such as extended health benefit plans that employees have, those insurance, if the patient is covered by manual osteopathy, when they come see our alumni, other manual osteopaths, they get paid once they receive the services. With auto insurance, it is not like that. With auto insurance, you are not guaranteed that you can get paid. You have to submit a treatment plan called the OCF form, a treatment plan to the insurance company. An adjuster in the insurance company checks it, reads it, and if he or she decides that it's reasonable, then he will approve it. So it is not guaranteed. You should not start a treating the patients without the approved treatment plan. And adjusters, after they receive the treatment plan, they have 5 days to approve it. I know it is kind of very hard to understand. A patient had a car accident, he or she is in pain, coming to see you for treatment, but you cannot treat until you get approval. But this is the way the law is, so don't go against it because you get into trouble. Best is to follow what the law says. So it is harder. Additionally, like many of my students now, they treat motor vehicle accident cases. On some occasions, patients come. They already have a treatment plan. You just fill up your parts, give it to the patient, and then you have there is another form, a special form, invoice form that you have to use for billing. You cannot use your regular invoices. You also in Ontario have to be registered with HCI to get a number, a billing number that you can use for your invoice and treatment plans. So it is a little bit complicated. But if you do it occasionally, that's all you need to do. But if you want to make this into $1 million clinic, which is possible in Ontario, the law allows you to bill up to $3,500. So it means if you get 150 patients in a year, you can easily have $1 million clinic. That is something like what, 12 patients a month, which is easily doable. But if you do that, then you cannot just rely on your treatment plan as be signed and approved by the patient's physician and so on. Because what happens a lot of time when the patient go to a physician to get your treatment plan signed, because a regulated health professional such as a chiropractor, physiotherapist, or physicians, professional who can do medical diagnosis must approve your treatment plan. And sometimes when you send it to patient's chiropractor, physiotherapist, or family physician, they grab the patient and they either send the patient to their own clinic or to somewhere else, and you lose the patient. But if it is one patient or so that you have, it's no big deal. But if you want to make this a regular business, then obviously you cannot afford that. So you have to find a solution for that. The solution can be you either work with a chiropractor or a physiotherapist or a family physician that you can refer these cases, and that person also makes some money for the examination they do because they cannot sign the treatment plan and disability certificate without examining the patient. So that is another thing. If you see a patient occasionally, most likely that patient has a disability certificate signed by his or her family physician. But if you see this is your main clinic, the type of clinic you practice, MVA cases, then you get a lot of cases that the lawyer or family physician send you directly, and there's a disability certificate that must be filled as well. And in that cases, you need to have a professional who can offer medical diagnosis, such as chiropractor, physiotherapist, or family physician. So you have to have either build a relationship. They make some money for their examination, and the report they can bill for that too. So they make some money. Either that one, or in your own clinic, hire a chiropractor or physiotherapist, either on salary or on a commission base, giving them a room, and that is the easiest way. If you have a chiropractor or physiotherapist in your clinic that uses another room, and then when you get the patient, you can send that patient to that chiropractor or physiotherapist to get the treatment signed. It's a good mutual cooperation that benefits both of you. So basically, you don't need that if you just see occasional MVA cases. But if you plan to make this your main type of business, then make sure you have a chiropractor, physiotherapist on site. It's very hard to get a family doctor to come work inside your clinic, but chiropractor and physiotherapists, they are harder to come by too. But chiropractors, you can find easily somebody who can come and use one of your offices, pays rent to you, or you guys can work on commission base. There are many ways of dealing on the payments that you can give to others. You can hire them as an employee or as an independent contractor. There are different options. It's a very tough field to crack in. There are tons of competition. There are whole groups of people involved in it. They've been doing it for so long, and but the potential is there for some of you to make good money. I was involved a lot in car accident cases long time ago. I made millions in it, and that helped actually osteopathy so much, because now I don't need to make money from my schools, and that is one reason why other schools cannot compete with us, because I as an owner do not take any money. Actually, last year in 2019, for the first time in Canada, now there is a non-profit osteopathy school, which is National Academy of Osteopathy. I was able to register it as a non-profit school, meaning I as an owner am not allowed to take even $1 as a profit, because I don't need the profit from NAO. Anything we make from National Academy of Osteopathy, we put it back in the school to help expand osteopathy. We do a lot of things for our alumni. For example, 3 years ago, I founded Osteopathy Chronic Pain Clinics of Canada, and from one clinic in Toronto, we now have 329 clinics in 30 countries. All the expenses of the CPCC head office is covered by NAO and my 2 universities in USA and Spain. Also, we don't take and even $1 of the treatment fees charged by our manual osteopaths in this clinic, which they are all my students. That because we don't need their money, 100% of the money given back to them. Additionally, all these manual osteopaths who work for the clinic, they studied the fellowship program in chronic pain management offered by National Academy of Osteopathy, and we paid their tuition, and they studied free of charge. We also offer them seminars and continuing education courses free of charge. This is because my school, NAO, is non-profit. I don't need to take money from it to survive for my living expenses, and we can do, and through this we became the leader in osteopathic education, and we became the leader in providing manual osteopathic care in Canada and elsewhere. While other schools, they use the school as a means to make income for themselves, so they cannot do all these things, but we can. For example, when a long time ago, the tuition for National Academy of Osteopathy was $4,500 for the entire diploma in osteopathic manual practice. DOMP is a Canadian title. We have the copyright of the title in Canada. The National Academy of Osteopathy has it, and we allowed some schools to use this title. But if your title is not, if you planning to study at a school that offers DOMP, which is not approved with us, you may not be able to use that DOMP title. In USA, we have the DOMP copyrighted as well, and anybody who wish to practice in US with a DOMP has to get approval from us. Yes, we offer the tuition at $4,500. 10 times less than what other schools charge, which, for example, they have a 3 to 5 year program and charge up to $45,000 for the full program. Their program is ranges from 320 hours for a 3-year program. Really, one of the schools in Ontario, the whole 3-year program is just 320 hours. Unbelievable. I can't understand how they can teach osteopathy in so short amount of hours. And the ones who offer a 5-year program, 1 weekend a month, 6 months a year, their total hours is 1,500. Our program is about 2,200 that we offer at the National Academy of Osteopathy. But we offered it at so low amount because we wanted to expand the profession. There is power in number, and we decided that long time ago, if we increase the number of our alumni, we can control the profession in Canada, and through that we can ensure everybody provides safe, effective, ethical manual osteopathic care, as well as we wanted to expand the osteopathy worldwide. So through that we did. We now have alumni in 72 countries, but that was below our expenses, and we couldn't do that for too long, unfortunately. National Academy of Osteopathy for many years generated loss, not profit. And then for a while it was just working without any profit. But now we increased the tuition to $15,000, $14,850, something like that. And now it is starting to generate profit, but not so much, not like others. We try to keep our tuition low to make the education affordable to international students as well as Canadian ones. And because my background, because I made enough money, I became a millionaire through those businesses dealing with car accidents and other things that I was doing. Now the profession of manual osteopathy benefits. In whatever business you get, in whatever type of clinic you get, always be creative. Always think how you can fix solutions, offer something unique that others cannot do. That can make you a millionaire. I sit down in front of trees every day, at least for an hour, meditate, and also I think how to improve my businesses. I sit down with a pen and blank paper, and I think. The trees, I always say the trees are the source of my creativity. God provided these beautiful trees to give us creativity. And you should do as well. Don't just do what everybody else does. You can, and that makes you a normal person, but to really go top, you have to do behind normalcy and do things differently. For example, when I started doing MVA cases, there are some things that didn't make sense to me. For example, patients had car accident, didn't have access to car, they were in pain, and they had to come on their own to the clinic for treatment. And that was common in Toronto at that time. And I decided to change that. I was the first chiropractor at that. Before I became a manual osteopath, I was a chiropractor for over a decade. I was the number one chiropractor, the busiest one in Canada. I was seeing 150 patients a day, working from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., even 7 days a week, even in Christmas Day and New Year. But that's another story. I couldn't do it for too long. Luckily, I got out of that. But what I did for the first time in history, I offered driving services for patients. I hired a fleet of drivers, send them, they pick up the patient, bring the patient, and I pay them $30 for the round trip, and they put like 3 to 4 patients in the car. So a driver would make something like $120 per trip, which was very lucrative for them. I charged this money to insurance companies. Insurance paid for these services. And we were, on average, our clients stayed for 3 hours. And at that time, I was charging $250 per hour. We did chiropractic, osteopathy, massage therapy, physiotherapy, and rehabilitation. Sometimes psychological services as well. So on average, we made $750 per visit, and $30 I give to driver. And this changed our clinic so much. I was in Toronto, but I had even patients from Ottawa, which is like 4.5 hours away, come for treatment to our clinic. We had tons of patients from Hamilton, 1 hour away, come. We even had like a bus, a mini bus, a small bus, like bring a whole bunch of people together. We had a big clinic. So this act of helping patients, solving a problem, a creative way of solving their problems, made us millions of dollars for our clinic. So that eliminated my competition. All the lawyers referred to me, all the medical doctors referred to me, and now it's a standard thing in the rehab industry. In Canada, they send drivers all the time, but at that time, there was nobody. By the time everybody woke up and copied me, oh, sorry, I got scared. I thought it's that coyote that I was telling you. Sorry about that. I got shocked suddenly to see a big thing. I thought panthers cannot be so big, but anyway. So I was saying, by doing that, we eliminated the competition, and by the time anybody woke up and copied me, we already made millions through that. Things like that you can do that separate you even in your field from others. Other thing, for example, when patients at that time had car accident, they would go under a number standard standard assessments, we call it. Home-based assessment, job site analysis, functional abilities evaluation. In US is called functional capacities evaluation, and psychological assessment. These four assessments were typical. Everybody did it. They would make about $10,000 or more of that in one session of assessment. But I thought about it, and I saw that a lot of my patients with especially grade 3 whiplash, they had a lot of TMJ problem, and there was no TMJ assessment at that time. So I created something called TMJ Assessment, and hired a dentist along with myself, and we did TMJ assessment. I made a report that brought us a lot of money as well. We were charging $700 for that. Another thing that I done that nobody in the MVA rehab was doing in Canada, and now it is a common practice. I realized that my patients, when they have accidents, the life of the people they were living with was changed. Their husband, their wife, they were suffering. Children were suffering because they couldn't have access to their father or mother because of this accident. The injured person didn't bring enough money home, and the whole family suffered. So I decided to quantify this suffering and make sure these patients, family of the patients who are suffering, get compensated for that. To do that, I used a psychologist, and the psychologist would examine these family members, and if it is found that they are suffering, I would refer that person to a lawyer. Lawyer would contact the insurance companies, and usually they settle the case within a month for $20,000. $5,000 go to us for the psychological assessment and report. $5,000 go to the lawyer for his commission or her commission, and $10,000 is given to the patient for future medical services, for future psychotherapy that they may need. And this brought some income for the family. They loved me for that. Lawyers loved me for that, because I made them $5,000. The injured patient loved me for that. The family physician loved me for that. I got tons of referrals because they saw their patients getting more money. Everybody loved me, and I got tons of patient referral. Imagine when you charge $5,000, you need just 100 patients to make $1 million clinic, and we made millions of just that. Another thing I did that nobody else was doing, I was the first one who brought it to the MVA rehab system. I realized that my patients, MVA cases, when I interview them, I see they're scared of driving. I had myself accident was one time in an intersection in Toronto. Somebody rear-ended me, and every time I pass that intersection, I get nervous. And then I interviewed them, and I saw that they have nightmares about this, and they're scared of driving, and I find it could be dangerous for them to suddenly go and drive again. So I found a system called driving assessment. I would put a psychologist sitting next to them, and that psychologist would go a few times with that person while the person is driving, and to ensure that the person is not nervous and gradually can go back to driving. And that services we charge about $5,000 too, and that brought us millions of dollars as well. So there are so many things that you can do if you become creative, if you sit down and think about what is the problem out there, what kind of solution you can provide, and how you can do it that everybody benefits, that is a win-win situation. It's never good if you are the only one who benefits. That never works. In business, it has to be both ways. It has to be you give something, you take something, you have to make sure people benefit. I always teach my students, when you give to people what they need, they give to you what you need. It is just has to be a both way thing. So if you think all the time about this, every day about this, your brain gives you ideas, your brain comes up with ideas, then you see problems that in your practice elsewhere, things that people need, things that can improve the system, and then you implement something and it shocks the system, and it improves society, improves a profession, improves the lives of people by you doing just one thing. And that makes you a millionaire. Then you can have financial freedom to do what you want. So do not just get into something with eyes closed like a robot, 9 to 5, do the same thing. Always be mindful. I practice mindfulness every day, from what I eat to how I practice to what I say. All the time I am thinking. I'm always thinking how you can improve things. And this is one of the best things, when your eyes open and when you see things, when you see how marketing is done, when you go to a restaurant, when you're mindful of what you choose, when you go to a store to buy clothes and you choose one type of clothes, you have to evaluate everything. What type of car you choose, why you choose that, what type of marketing was involved, what made you decide to do that, and then you can copy it. Everything is by standard, by design, to make you buy something or do something. And once you do all that, once you see that you can become aware, you wake up. Like if you watched a Matrix movie long time ago, you take that pill and you wake up and you see a whole beautiful world waiting for you. And then you see that there is an abundance of money. No matter where you go, you can become rich and wealthy. No matter what business you get into, you can become rich and wealthy in that business. Once you know all these, once your eyes open, once you know all the laws and regulations of the business, the marketing, and how to get clients and customer. There is a system to it. It's a science. I am a scientist and I base everything on standards and on replicable things. That's why I graduate successful manual osteopath, because I have a systematic approach to them from A to Z. I teach them to tell them what to do, A, B, C, D, to get to E. It's a system, and once they follow this system, they become wealthy like me as well. You know, it is not magic. It is not an art. It's the science. Once you replicate that, once you copy that, you can get it too. It is a lot easier than you think. It is a lot easier than you think to become a millionaire and wealthy. It is doable. Millions of people done it, and you don't need education. You don't need to have a PhD. You don't need to have connections, rich father or mother. None of that. Those help, but you can do it without anything. If you change your brain, if you sit down and think, if you take action, if you dream big, it's all possible. I was homeless, I lived in shelters, I lived on the streets. I came as a refugee to Canada. I washed dishes for $3.75 an hour, and now I'm a millionaire. And I tell you, life as a wealthy person is a lot more fun. You can get freedom to do what you like. You can make your passion your profession, and that is a beautiful thing. Please, in whatever way you practice, in whatever type of manual osteopathy clinic you specialize in, do not just do it 9 to 5 without thinking. Think how you can improve it. Find out what your customers need and provide that service to them. It just elevates you, makes you more money, and with your more money, you have a better quality of life, and you enjoy life a lot more. Okay, that's it for today. Have a wonderful day. Until next time, bye for now. Namaste.